Greetings and welcome to Zord's Planetary Space Program episode 5. Today we are, as usual, continuing our preparations for big missions, big man missions. I'm going to try to keep the higher tempo, because I feel we get a lot more done per episode this way. So what we're doing here is we're launching a large specialized vehicle. This vehicle is going to be used for only one specific thing, and that's why it's, well, non-standard. It is, for example, not designed to do dockings, and this is a bit of a problem when we're going to dock it. But we have our service ship, which will perform this task. We dock the service ship, which has RCS thrusters, to the front, and we're going to release this launcher engine thing at the bottom to expose the lower docking port. So this stage is it has a probe core, so it will deorbit itself, and well, this thing is about as hard to maneuver as they come. So yeah, we have only the RCS thrusters on one end and all the mass of the ship on the other end. So you move it by, you turn it in the right direction, and then you use forward or backward translation to get it to move at all. It's a bit like docking without RCS. It's just, yeah, with RCS. So now I'm going to grab the adapter for the large docking port. This is because I'm going to attach at the back with the large docking port, and I'm going to dock the small forward docking port to the station. This is because we need to dock something else to the back of this ship later, so we need to have that port free. Well, this ship, as I said, has only one specific purpose, and this purpose is to land on Tylo and return to orbit. Because we are landing on everything, might as well do this when we do the rest of the Jovan moons. And since everything else we're preparing for is going to Jool, this thing will come along on that trip. So that's docked, and now we'll launch a tanker. This is a very slightly modified version of the Mark II standard tanker, and you've seen me launch this a million times, so skip that. And this is going to replace the current tanker sitting in the station, and this is slightly problematic due to the tanker being the middle part. So we're gonna have to detach everything from everything else in the station, almost, and replace the middle part, as I said. And we are also, of course, bringing the new tanker up fully fueled, because we need to refuel. That Tylo ship is, well, it was launched using its own fuel, so when it came up here, it was empty, and the fuel I had on board the station was not enough, so we bring another full load. Thankfully, the whole operation with replacing this central part is not very complicated. I just dock the new tanker to the station core, and this hub piece can control itself, so you just fly it back. It doesn't have time to drift very far. And regarding the old tank, yeah, that's based on the Mark I tanker, which means I remembered about here. It doesn't have any solar panels. So yeah, we've been here before. We grab the large adapter with the service ship, and we set off to rendezvous with the derelict tanker. We need to give it some solar panels. The service ship has solar panels. So the only thing this thing's going to do is going to deorbit itself, and it's going to do this, of course, with the service ship still attached, because it needs the power. So the service ship's going to have to accelerate back again and return to the station, because we want to keep that. Fortunately, this is not a problem. That ship has a very high thrust to weight ratio due to those Rockomax engines being a bit too powerful maybe. So, no problems later, we return to the station and return the adapter, which is very useful, I must say. And this thing is so easy to fly, it's like it's no problem. And now we're launching yet another tanker. This is a standard modified Mark II tanker, and its only purpose is to go and refuel station, because that Tyler ship drinks a lot of fuel, and yeah, we're out, we need more. Simple as that. So we just fly this up, and we're going to empty it into the station. This will fill up the Tyler ship, and any excess fuel will be dumped into the onboard fuel storage capacity facility that we just brought up with the tanker. And of course cut away all the fuel transfer, because that's really boring. And yeah, we fly this away to deorbit it, and we had maybe a bit too much fuel on it, because it accelerated away too far and we can't switch back to the station, so we can just watch this fall down to Kerbin instead. And now we're going to launch the thing that we are going to dock to the Tyler ship. This is its drive stage, designed to carry it between moons in a system. Usually the Jool system, but it also works on Kerbin, which is good because then we don't have to wait for the pusher. So we dock this thing. This one doesn't need a tug, doesn't need the help, it can dock itself. And this thing has also emptied itself of fuel, so we fill it up from the internal storage. And now this thing is good to go. We're going to Minmus, as with everything else. That's our storage. And I think this looks a bit like a fish, so we rename it to the sailfish, just to compensate for lack of imagination on other parts. Alpha station. No comment. So, we have a long burn ahead of us, which I am going to just cut all away. Cut it everything away. And we end up with our very first launch coming into Minmus. This was a while ago. Yeah, this is the station tanker thing. The very first thing that we transferred over to Minmus has arrived, and we're going to rendezvous with Beta Station, which is currently in a slightly lower orbit than I initially put it in. It's in 500 kilometers rather than 1000, and I have to go into this eccentric orbit, but it's not a problem because we have the space, we have room enough to do that. In this case, where we are doing orbital rendezvous around Minmus, the smallness of the moon is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because the delta V changes required, or the velocity changes required I should say, are very small, because the orbital velocity overall is so low. This also means that because the orbital velocity is so low, doing these rendezvous takes a lot more time, because you're going so slowly. But eventually, and through a lot of cuts, we make it here. And as you see, the station, yeah, because we're docking two and almost identical pieces to each other, it looks not really like a ship arriving to a station. It's technically actually a mobile station arriving to a mobile station. Well, yeah. Now we are flying the pusher, which is coming back and going to do an aerobrake maneuver to save fuel. So I use this online tool called an aero braking calculator. I put a link in the description, which is really useful, and it allows you to enter your values and get perfect aero braking every time. Well, it just tells you usually how to do things, and you get it mostly right. and by pure luck I end up going in a trajectory which is close to the station. So I just spent lots of time tweaking my orbit, and I should end up very close to the station. Yeah, I have plenty of fuel anyways, so we are coming back, and look, there's a solar eclipse going on. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, you see that? Of course, solar eclipses are a lot more common on Kerbin than on Earth, because of the perfectness of the orbits, especially that. Yeah, you see that? That's a full eclipse. It looks very impressive though, and yeah, as I said, it's a lot more common on Kerbin than on Earth, because the Earth's moon has an orbit which is significantly less perfect than that of the Mun. So, yes, the pusher has arrived. It's being refueled and immediately goes out on its next mission, because honestly, the effectiveness of the pusher is the current limiting factor of the progressing of these preparations. And yeah, we're gonna launch this station hub to Minmus. Yeah, did you see that connection? That was the smoothest transition I ever seen when docking. So this thing is also going to Jool, of course. So we launch it, and another multi-minute burn, which I'm going to cut away. So we do the transfer, and that's about it for this episode. I hope to see you next time. Bye!